I welcome you here on the YouTube channel of Z.Ram. My name is Daniel and today I wanted to see on the Chroni how the Z.50 projectiles do with the standard version of the HDR50 and then again in comparison with the tuning set to see how the Z.50 projectiles perform once with the standard version and once with the tuning set. We have here the prototypes of the Z.50 projectiles, which are now always around 4.2, 4.1, 4.2, 4.2 grams. But they will be a little heavier later. Then I have the one with the slightly thicker wall, which weighs 6.5 grams. I did a few more test shots and actually it doesn't weigh so badly. In the first test, those with the thin wall flew perfectly and always arrived perfectly at the target. But the ones with the thicker wall, it was so that they sometimes arrived at an angle or backwards. And I didn't like that so much. But now I've done a few more test shots and it almost always arrived straight ahead. This means that we will probably increase the wall here from 0.7 mm to 1 mm. Then we probably come to 4.7 or 5 grams approximately. So I'm going to shoot the 4 with thin-walled projectiles for now. With a new capsule. And the 5th shot will be with the thick-walled one. Then we install the tuning kit and then test the same thing again with a new capsule. I'll set it up now and then we'll see each other at the Chroni. The weapon is loaded, the projectiles are now in here. The last shot is the 6.3 gram projectile. I'm going to hit the capsule, it's armed now, and now we're going to make 5 shots. As I said, this is now the 11 joule version without a tuning kit. With the standard version so, now let's see how they ended up here. Here we have the first one. It has come the furthest. The second one also flew perfectly straight. One more of the thin-walled ones. The next one has also flown perfectly straight. The thin-walled one here also flew straight ahead. It looks like the heavy projectile is too heavy for the standard version of the HDR50. Here's the heavy projectile. So that was a bit crooked in it, and from that I conclude that it still turns slightly in flight. The walls are simply too thick. That's 2 mm here and this is 0.7. I think with 1 mm, if we have a perfect projectile here, with the perfect shape. That's an angle of 80 degrees here. It was important to me that we have an angle below 90 degrees, which makes it more aerodynamic and penetrates deeper. And the weight distribution is then also ideal, that the front is heavier than back. And yes, I think we got the best out of it. So now let's take a look at what the whole thing will look like with the tuning kit. So then we are now here at the workbench. How the power kit is installed and the barrel is installed, I will not show in detail here. Maybe just a few short scenes. There are countless videos on YouTube that explain this in detail. I don't need to make another one now. I'll just show it very briefly. All screws around the outside are loosened here. I always leave the screws in the holes and then just lift them off afterwards. So I have now loosened the screws here and left them in. Now we have some screws here, we loosen them all now and then carefully lever them out. So, I've solved them all now. Now it is slowly levered open, with a screwdriver. Lift a little bit from all sides. I also left the screws back in and then it looks like this. It's best to take a photo of it so that you can reassemble it later without any problems. Now you can just lift this part out here. This is fixed here and there. Just plugged in. This spring here is created under tension, so carefully lift it out. There will be a short jerk, but you can hold it with your hand. I'm going to leave it all in here now, I just wanted to show you that. I have already installed the pin and I have also installed the valve here in the back. I took out the block. I'll just explain this to you briefly. When you got this part out, the bolt over the chamber is pulled here. Over this whole part is this little black bolt. And there's a pin in that black bolt. Here is such a pin. And you can unscrew it. But you should heat the black bolt at the point where it is screwed to the pin. And then you can unscrew it with the screwdriver. Unfortunately, I didn't succeed. It broke off for me. And then I had to drill out the pin. But it worked without any problems. The new pin is in and everything is clean and works. That's the bolt. The black part here. And in here is the pin. When you take that apart and look at it, you will immediately see what to do. Then you have this part back here, you can turn it open with such thin pliers. Reach into both holes and then turn. If you do that, there's a block in it. The part here is then stuck in it. You can then push it out from the back. You can leave it out. Then you just screw it back in and you're done. No big deal. And then there's the valve back here. The new valve is already in there. You can unscrew it with a normal screwdriver. Or pull it out with the long screw that is included with the power kit. Depends on your version. It is also not firmly screwed and is not under pressure or anything like that. Then just screw the new restrictor back in and then it's done. Then you can put the whole thing back together. It's not a big deal, it's just important that you take a picture of how it all belongs together, because later you might not know where everything belongs. For me it was that I had a small spring left and didn't know where it belonged. Later I found out where it belongs. It's in between here. And I'm going to put that in again now and then I'll put everything back together. Then everything should work again and we can continue with the tests. The tuning barrel is already in here. That's a bit longer. And there is such a cap here on the front. Or the longer version. Since you can still screw the barrel extension here, then it is another 10 centimeters longer. That means we then have the pin in, the block outside, another valve, the tuning barrel and the tuning barrel extension. Then I have the tuning drum, which may be useful, for such projectiles for example, but with our Z.50 projectiles it is not so useful, because the part here is made of aluminum and gives the projectiles no grip at all. The slides then back and forth here. In combination with our Z.50 projectiles, it is not so recommended. You can try it out, maybe put a little fat in between so that they stay in it, but with this drum it works better with our Z projectiles. So, I'll screw it all back together now and then we'll see each other at the next test on the Chroni. So, now we're back here at the Chroni. I have now reloaded my 5 projectiles here. The first 2 shots we do with without barrel extension, the next 2 we do with barrel extension. Or rather, we will do the next 3 shots with barrel extension. There's a new capsule in there, it's not pierced yet, now let's go. 328, the second shot was a bit strange, I don't know, but 328, that's about what I've tested before, and now with the barrel extension and the lighter bullets. The shots are completely through. Cardboard box filled with cardboard. I have several layers of cardboard in here, it went all the way through and then ended up here in the box. And even made a hole here, but as I said, he now goes through this whole layer of cardboard. Here, that's 6-7 layer thick towels. It's stuck here. This is not normal styrofoam. I'm not what you call it, but it's pretty hard here. It has also caught itself in here. Anyway, they fly great. I'm curious if our professional manufacturer makes the things, according to my specifications, then they will be even more precise. They are usually even better than my prototypes. You can also see that with the Z.68 projectiles. My handmade ones are not bad, but if I have them made by the manufacturer, then perfect results come out. I'm really curious how they will be when my manufacturer has made them. These are the results, once without power kit and once with power kit, with our Z.50 projectile. Soon available in our shop. The link can be found below in the video description. Those were the tests. As I said, once in the standard version. That was the 11 joule version, and then once with the whole power kit and the short tuning barrel, and then once with the long tuning barrel. As you have seen, the projectiles have consistently delivered great results. So I'm completely convinced of the weapon. It's really fun, makes top results. Now that these projectiles are still available for it, it's even more fun. The next project I have taken on here is the Smith & Wesson. It was also sponsored by Lael from Silver Archery. I wanted to take a look at that too. Besides, I've always wanted to have a weapon like that. It only reaches 5 to 7 joules, but it's really fun. The projectiles are small balls. Caliber 43. Thus have a higher effect even with fewer joules. Basically, a very nice weapon. I wavered between the Walter PPQ, the Glock and the Smith & Wesson. And especially at the end between the Smith & Wesson and the Glock. But then I decided on the Smith & Wesson, and is a little better in the hand, and a very nice part on top is metal. This one is plastic, but also very high quality. This handle can be changed. As I said on silver archery, in the shop of Lael you can buy them. I'll put the link in the article description below. Take a look there. With blowback caliber 43. Also has the emergency magazine in it. Yes, of course has a little less power than the one here or than the FSC, because the chamber here is much larger than the one here. That's basically just this small part. But we'll take a look at that too. Whether we can use pointed projectiles and what we can do to increase performance. Tuning is not allowed in Germany. Here in Croatia they don't see it quite so strictly. And here I can test it without any problems, but if you want to use it in Germany, you should not exceed the 7.5 joules with the ammunition used, and you should not tinker with the weapon. These tuning sets are not allowed to be installed in Germany. The weapons may not even be opened. At most, grease a little for maintenance and screw it back together like this. But otherwise only 7.5 joules are allowed in Germany. Anyway, look forward to new videos, look forward to the Z.50 projectiles. I think they will be fun for many people, get a lot of requests for them, and yes, I'm happy now that it's coming to the point, that it's now so far that I can present it and now also go into production. Please leave a subscription there, like the video, share the video, do me a favor. Have fun. You're Daniel from Z.Ram.